Welcome. This class will be the main class for both training your body's innate ability to sense and use energy and your ability to control it. This will usually be a technique that is done before bed due to it giving you energy and potentially mental fatigue. So if you do it in the morning, which I've done before, congratulations. You're going to be tired the whole day and there's nothing you can do to change it. Yes, if you have practiced more, you can do it in the middle of the day for even an hour or two if you're not trying to max out the limit and you're just practicing control. But to start with, it's best done before bed. If you're watching this and it's like 7 in the morning, well, too bad. You're going to do this for a few minutes and then you'll do it again at night. So, this video, we're going to talk about manifesting energy into reality and grounding. We'll do grounding first because it's very important to know how to ground your energy before you know how to manifest your energy into reality. So, with grounding, in the last technique, we went over how to sense your energy. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go and watch class 1. That's really important that you can sense your energy, that will lead into this class. With the classes, I recommend you watch them in class 1, class 2, class 3. If you're brand new to this, and these aren't out, but if somebody clicks on like class 79, they're gonna have no idea, right? I'm trying to make recap classes every now and then, but the way I'm structuring it is, numerically for a reason. Anyway, we're going to go over grounding. Grounding is very important for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you get way too charged up on energy, you can ground your own energy and it will make you more in tune with your physical body. And number 2, and the main reason, if you have negative energy inside of you, this can be, there's a lot of negative energy, demonic energy, plague energy, witch energy, EMFs, voodoo, we can go on and on. This can ground that energy out of you and into the earth. So, for grounding, what we're going to do is we'll start off by just sensing our energy. So you can start with the waterfall technique, or you can just start by picturing water, a lake inside of your stomach and pull energy out that way. But let's just do the waterfall technique for simplicity's sake. All right, so we're going to put one lake here in the head. Hopefully you've not forgotten. One lake in one foot, one lake in the other. Put both of your feet together, and then one lake in a hand, one lake in the other hand. This is optional, but we'll just do the complete technique. So you're going to have water come down out of your head, down your body, all the way down into your left leg, across to your right foot, which is up for me evidently, and then up your right side. Good, we've created a spiral of water moving through your body. You're both sensing and controlling your energy doing this. Next, we're going to add another flow to it. We'll make it also train the arms. So have it go down one side and up the other. We'll go down the left side. That's actually usually easier. Good, and the other side, go down. It's usually easier on the inner side. So down and around and up and usually into the head and then down and around. Good. So you've got the water going. Next, usually for manifesting energy, it can be easier rather than just taking it from wherever. We're next going to create a ball of energy, a ball of water, right? Symbolically, the water is your energy inside of your stomach. The reason we're doing it in the stomach is it's a really easy natural area to pull energy from. The stomach as in the center right where your belly button is. Good. So what does that mean? All right, that means we're doing the waterfall technique, and then there are a few ways. One way is as the energy comes up, you picture it come off and then into your stomach, and the other side as well will come off. It can be from the bottom. Usually I will go from up here, and with one side, now not all the water, you'll just take, let's say, a fifth of it off there and in as the water keeps going, and your head is going to generate the water to make up for that. And as it comes up the other side, I will have a fifth of that go into the stomach as well. Good. Now we're creating a ball of water inside of the stomach. This is how you're going to use energy. We'll keep doing that for, let's say, 2 minutes. As you go through, pay attention to how your body feels. Pay attention to really any changes in your mind. If you start to feel your mind really wandering, keep just focusing on the technique, bring your intention back. As you get more acquainted with the technique, you can keep doing it while you're completely thinking about other things, right? You're thinking of something that has nothing to do with what you're doing, but you will be able to keep doing it. But for now, it's usually easier if you're focusing on the technique, but don't focus too hard, right? With these techniques, when I say focus, I mean relax your brain into it. You're not trying to memorize the technique, because then usually, and this goes for a lot of people, if you try too hard, you just get like a mental wall. You just want to relax into it, right? It's like moving your arm. You don't think, I'm going to move my arm, because your arm's going to get all wooden, and you're going to think, how's the arm supposed to move? No, if you just relax into it and you're like, I'm going to do this technique, and you just do it, you just move your arm, it's going to be a lot easier than if you try and treat this like it's some kind of really, really elaborate science project, because it's not at all, right? It's as simple as moving just another body part. Good. Now, hopefully you've got quite a bit of water stored in your stomach. If not, feel free to pause me and unpause me when you feel you've got enough. You're not trying to fill your whole stomach with water, right? We just need enough to do the technique. Okay, good. Next, you're going to keep the water in your stomach. Now we're going to, the water's coming from your head, and stop the flow so it'll keep going until it finishes all the way up, and done. And the next technique, right arm, wait for it to stop, and the other arm, wait for it to stop. Good. Okay, we now have a pool of water in the stomach. First thing we're going to do is ground a small amount of this. So just picture some of that water come out down your knees, down your legs, and down your feet, and picture it go into the ground. Now, I strongly do not recommend you picture roots or anything attaching to you. Don't do that, right? That's, for right now, it's perfectly safe, but it's just not good to get in the habit of that. So picture it go into just, let's say, grass or dirt, whatever. You can picture magma, but just something underneath your feet that has to do with the earth, and then it will disperse. Good. Okay, you can keep doing that if you want. This will just train both your ability to ground and your lower energetic pathways as you do this. Now, we don't really need to just ground energy that we've pooled, so you can stop grounding now. And next, this is going to be the main technique for strengthening your energetic pathways, your ability to manifest energy, and your ability to control energy. Now, when I say manifest energy, you're not going to picture energy and create it and be able to basically physically manifest blocks of gold. Could you do that if you had enough strength? Honestly, probably not, because the way the matrix is actually set up is the energy is not designed to physically manifest into a permanent form. It's not. Now, it's much more easy to manifest energy as a permanent energetic form, and it can stay for centuries. But if you are trying to manifest it into something physical, it's designed to reject it for the time being. Now, that could change in the future, but not a good future at that. But it is not set up that way. So the main goal here, right, is to manifest things energetically. You are manifesting them mainly in the fourth dimension and upwards. You are not manifesting them in the third physical dimension. Now, the first thing to start with is very simple. You are going to, in your mind, picture a sphere, right? It can be gold colored, it can be clear, it's up to you. But what you're going to do is you're going to put your hands together and you're going to manifest this sphere. I've not done this technique in a while. My sphere is much more detailed just because my energy upgrades things. I pictured a glass sphere and it's like, and we're going to make this really shiny and detailed. Anyway, so you've got your hands here. It's usually easier if you put them together, and you will picture the water, right, that's stored in your stomach, come up and out of one arm, out of the other, right? It's usually, if you can do the waterfall technique in your arms, you can do this easily, right? Water's coming out and you're going to take that energy and you're giving it the intention to manifest into a sphere. And there it is. Now, you may start to feel some resistance between your hands. That is perfectly normal, right? You may even start to feel your hands pushing apart. Now, if I decrease the size of my sphere, I can bring it back together. But if you've got a really dense sphere and you're quite good at feeling energy, this will be difficult for you to put your arms in because the energy will be resisting it, right? So you're creating the sphere, and the goal is not to make a giant sphere, which I've done before, right? You make a spirit bomb, you put your arms up, and it's huge. Your goal is to make it. I need that back. Come back. I'm gonna have to decrease the size. All right. Your goal is to make a dense sphere rather than a huge sphere, and this will train both your overall, the amount of energy you can manifest out of your energetic pathways, and the amount of energy that you really create that moves through your body each day. This will train these two things, right? So you've created a sphere. There you go, all right, what do I do with this sphere? Well, we didn't really give this sphere much of an intention. We just made it as a training tool. So it's not really a good idea. This is used energy. This energy is just a sphere. It's best, and this will also help train your lower body as well, to now ground this sphere. So you take the sphere and you just take it in through your arms, down, and through your legs, through your feet, and into the ground, and disperse it, because that is now energy that you've used. What happens if you just take that sphere energy, because you think, oh, well, this is my energy, I should just keep it. If you take energy that you've used and manifested into the outside world, your body usually doesn't like it. It will go, this is used energy, this is not gonna really absorb or flow around my natural energetic pathways. So it works really well as a training tool, but it's not a good idea to just have spheres throughout your body. So we're going to ground it. Now, usually you will just want to do this each night. You will make a sphere of water in your stomach, and then you can create a sphere. To start with, I'd recommend it for the first week. Just stick with the sphere, create it until your arms feel heavy and a bit numb, and your mind and body will tell you, all right, this is your limit, stop. Now you can push past your limit, and I've certainly done that. And what will happen is you will have a bit sore of hands, and they'll be numb and a bit heavy. But the reason why you don't want to push past your limit is your body knows really the natural recovery period for training. So, and especially with muscle building, the workout's not that important. The recovery period's much more important. So long as you actually work out. If you're just recovering all the time, you're not actually going to gain anything. So you will do the technique, and your mind and body will say, all right, stop. And that's when you will stop, and you will ground the sphere back in and through your body. Now, once you're done with the sphere, we will practice control, right? So instead of just creating a sphere, which isn't very exciting, you can picture really whatever you want. I used to be really into like fantasy war, so I used to just look up swords, ridiculous fantasy swords, and I would create those because it helped both with my control and with my ability to use energy. Now you may think, so if I manifest this sword and create it and have it outside of me, it can fight negative things for me. And the answer is, well, that is a thought form of sorts, and it's really not that useful. You're much better off doing the primordial hand in the next class than you are creating swords and other things to fight things around you, because it's much more controlled, and it's really designed for that. This is really designed for just keeping your body in an optimal state and strengthening it. With shielding, yes, you manifest energy into the shield and you have that around you. And if you want swords around you, you can, but it's not going to help you that much, and it's much better off grounding them and using that as a training tool, right? So if you want, you can Google image, whatever you want, Excalibur, you name it. And it doesn't have to be swords, right? It can be anything. There was one time where I got home late and I didn't want to spend, I think at that point I was spending 15 to 20 minutes each night doing this. You don't need to spend that long before bed. And I went, I don't feel like doing that. So I just pictured a really fancy couch, and I just put all my energy into a really, really, really dense couch. That's about as fast as I could. It took me about 40 seconds. And then I grounded it. So this doesn't have to take that long. It certainly can, depending on what you're doing. And it will help with your visualization and your creative control abilities if you're creating multiple things. So, right, but if you want, really fancy couch, doesn't have to be a real couch, can be a real couch, it doesn't matter. And then ground the couch and through your body and out, right? It's just manifesting training energy, training exercise. Now, Another thing you can do, you can take, it's not really a good idea, don't use real people, but if you want to use like video game characters, cartoon characters, etc., if you want to do the whole cast of Dragon Ball Z, which I've done, it's going to be a lot harder to make Goku between your hands because you're not making a model, you're making the real Goku, right? It's going to be life size. So what you will do if you're doing that, and I've done this, is you will put your hands out in front of you. This will help a lot with your manifestation control abilities and your training your energy pathways while you're doing this. You'll put your hands out. Now, first of all, if this is your first time doing the technique, do the energy ball for at least 6 days, and then do a sword for 4 or 5 days, and then gradually get more elaborate. But if you've done it longer, all right, okay, we're making Goku. Okay, so you'll put your arms out, and Goku, essentially, this will be from where my hands are. I am feeling Goku's back, right? Goku's very muscly back. No homo. Anyway, we're making Goku's very, very muscly back, right? So, you've got your hands here, and now Goku's going to be fully clothed, okay? We're not making Goku naked. And then you will just picture Goku's hair, picture everything, picture Goku in your mind, and then you're manifesting him, and there we go, there's Goku. Now, you may notice that he's pretty much a statue. Yes, you've not really given Goku consciousness. You've just used your energy to manifest Goku. Now, use your energy to have him move to the side, away from you, and then you will go and you'll create Vegeta, etc., and you'll go through them until your arms hurt, until you feel you're done, and then you will ground all of them. Now, if you're doing, and I used to just create golems because it was easy and I could just mass produce them. So let's say if you look up Old War Golem, I used to create a lot of those because it was like a really big, blocky, really easy shape. So if you want to create, this is more advanced. So let's say you've been doing this for a month or two, right? Let's say you want golems. You go golem 1, and then you will make the intention that this makes a golem, and then the next golem you don't have to touch. You will just make it have about a gap between, and then another golem and another, etc., etc., etc. The reason why having Goku or any kind of golem is important is you're not going to change the density of them. So let's say you create a golem and you can create 1 and then 1.5 the next day, and then 2, and then the next day 2.5. What you will find, and this is a really, really good way to know that you're making energetic progress. This is where I got really excited because unlike physical training, where the more weights you lift, your growth rate, it does now because I have energetically improved my hormones and everything. But before I did that, and also energetically improved my ability to gain and retain muscle. But before that, when I was almost a regular person, you could work out a lot and your ability to gain muscle would not increase in time. And it was really, really annoying, right? This metaphor worked well before this year when I did all that. Anyway, so just for a second, I was just checking. I've had to get a new camera because I went to record the last video, which I recorded before this one, and my camera broke. And I'm like, oh, this one actually works. The other one had been dead for a while, but I'd been reviving it with energy. Anyway, so let's say you create 1 golem and then 2. You will find your growth rate increases. And it took me, I'll check the energy. I think it must have taken me, once I created golems, 15, 16 days to get from about 8 to 50. And then from 50 to 100, it took 6 days. And then from 100 to 200, you're thinking, all right, well, this will take a month as well. No, 100 to 200 took me like 4 days. It was, the growth rate is like, the increase is like absolutely exponential, so long as you're consistent and you keep doing it. And another great thing with energy is, even if you're not inconsistent, right, you should be, but if you're not, then your energetic strength usually won't go down because you're still using it in your daily life as you move around. I've never seen somebody's energetic strength go down due to lack of training. I've never seen that. So if you build it up, you will keep it, which is incredible. But you'll create a golem, and then 200, and then 400, right? You get to 400 in like a few days, and then you keep going like, whoa, this is, and then it takes you a while to get to 1,000, and then you make 2,000 in 3 days, right? Your growth rate is huge, and that's why it's really good to pick anything, right? But make it consistent so you can actually feel and see the difference that you're growing. Now, you may think, oh, this is all in my mind. All right, well, let's say the only limit's 2,000 golems. Create 4,000. You're not going to be able to. You're going to get to 2,300 and your arms are going to be like reacting to the energy. They're going to be sore. It's not just a matter of, oh, I believe I'm stronger, so I'm stronger. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. Because if that's how it worked, this world would be a lot better. No, energetic strength and manifestation work. But without the energetic strength, you're just saying, you know, you get this from a lot of these like people with a lot of corruption energy, which I will go into detail later, but they think, oh, I just asked for all evil entities in existence to disappear and they disappear. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Now, I'll talk about evil things later on. You don't need to worry about anything like that for now, right? This is just training your energy and manifesting. Now, creating golems is great, and that will train your total energy, your total strength of your energetic pathways, the amount of energy you can move, especially so long as you do the waterfall technique in tandem. I'd usually recommend do the waterfall technique 5 to 10 minutes until your energy tells you to stop, and then do manifesting for 5 to 10 minutes. The first few days, maybe a minute, maybe 2. Later on, let's say you're watching a movie, you can practice the waterfall technique, but not as high a density as you would have it on at night if you're trying to do the 5-minute one. And that will train your energy control, right? If you've got a movie on and you just want to create golem after golem, you can do that as well. But this one's usually better off before bed. But if you're wanting to practice, rather than creating a lot of things that are quite dense, what you can do is you can try and get your control down as much as possible. So let's say you look up like a really elaborate like ship model that's made out of wood. Try and create that. Create it, manifest it, and then look at it, and then look at the drawing and see how accurate you were. See how close you were. You'll often find you're fairly accurate, but you'll have missed a few things here and there. And then if you go inside, even though the image most likely won't show the inside, you'll be able to get the inside very close as well, because your energy will have connected in a sense with the image and scan the model. So if you go inside and the image is hollow and the inside's hollow, this will also help your primordial vision, which I'll talk about later as well, your ability to see things which aren't there through both sensing and through being able to see through physical space. Often your subconscious will do this and fill in the information for you, so you go, oh, I've gone inside and there's actually a bunch of stuff in here. That's, you know, even if it's not dead accurate, it's usually accurate enough that it's, you know, and once you get really strong, you'll often be able to you'll take the creation and then you'll create it and it will look even better, both from your subconscious and often your conscious mind working, you know, if you add things consciously to make it even better. So you can work on control doing that as well. Another thing I'll mention, if you, because I heard this from a few people, they said the waterfall technique was easier if you just did one arm rather than the whole body, as they felt it more. This is because the energy is concentrated in one area, and you, especially when first starting, have much more control with the less things you do, right? So creating one golem and then 2 is great, and then after a while you do 2, 4, you'll do 2 at once and then 3 at once, etc. Again, you can even use toilet paper as a, you know, way to measure your power. It's up to you. Just try and make it the same roll each time, right? Just pick something and keep it the same. Anyway, one way you can really train the control of your energy is we're going to do the waterfall technique, and you will create a waterfall here, right, in your elbow. And then you will go, have the streams, have one stream go down and up, right? It's going. And then you can either cross them, or it's probably easier for you right now to just go down one side and then up this way, and you're going to create an H or an infinity sign, right? You're basically creating an infinity sign of energy inside of your arm, and through that you will be training both your control and your energetic pathways, usually throughout your whole body. As just because you're only using energy here, that doesn't mean the rest of your body isn't being trained. The body's the energy body, not the physical body. You can have one arm, but the energy body, even if you're just training one side, it will have a large effect on the other, and it'll usually balance it out naturally. So if you just train one side and not the other, yes, one side will feel more fatigue, but overall, especially over a few weeks, it will usually balance out naturally anyway. So if you have time, or you know, you're doing something else, just you can create an infinity sign there and just focus on keeping it going. This is important as it will help you train your mind's ability to keep energy going symbolically, even when you're doing other things. So it's a really, really useful ability to have. So you'll just go here, through, 8, and you can increase the speed. Now, the goal here is not to get it as fast as possible, because what's going to happen, or as fast as possible, is it'll be going, and then it'll start to like spurt out of your arm. That's not going to cause any problems, but that's not the goal. The goal is control. And then once you've got it going, right, even if it's going, fairly slowly, keep it going, and then do something else. Take your focus somewhere else, and see if you can still feel it. Still train your ability to feel energy when you're not focusing on it, when you're not thinking about it. And this will train your ability to keep energy going with just your subconscious mind, which is something you have to train. It's not usually something you have innately, but it is something that you can very well develop. Just think if there's anything else I have to say about manifesting energy. One thing with energy, it is difficult to gauge how strong you've gotten, but by creating the same thing each day, it does get easier and easier. Now, you don't have to. You can take a break from creating the same things, but it's really helpful to know you're progressing, because it's one thing to feel and see the changes, but it's another to actually, basically have a number go up like it's a video game. It makes it a lot more tangible, at least for me. I'm trying to think when I stopped creating golems, because it's like the numbers would get, and this will help you because the growth rate increases. It gets into the like trillions, and you're like, all right, 9 trillion golems. It loses meaning. Now, yes, could I make it denser and just create one? Yes, but at the time I didn't feel it was the optimal way to train, especially with my control over manifesting energy. And it also helped by keeping it at the same density, to keep track. Now, just to be clear here, yes, you can make the golems and then say, all right, go out and fight negative energy and negative entities around me. You can do that, and they will, but it's important to not just leave them out overnight. Train your ability to ground. It is a really important ability to have. So you can create them, and then as you're creating, have the ones that you've already created, go and do things, but then ground them, because if you have all this energy around, it can, I wouldn't say disrupt, especially not the world at the moment. It's not going to disrupt your energy or your field, but it is just important to keep training your grounding ability. I lived in a really haunted house, and I could leave things out for a night or two, but usually what will happen, I'm just thinking, I feel like this information is not even needed at the moment. I'll talk about it when I talk about thought forms, which also, it's not really that needed of a topic, but a lot of people are curious about it. So I'll talk about that in another one. But for now, I think that ends this class. Don't really have anything else to say. So the important thing is be consistent. Do the first class and the second class with this technique. When it comes to erasing energy, when it comes to overall increasing your energetic strength, it is important to keep training yourself really each day. I'd say a main motivator for this is when you die, right? It doesn't matter how great your physical body is. You can leave behind, well, unless you become like sainted, then your body's immaculate and pristine. But if you don't become sainted, or even if you do, you've still just left behind a body. It's not going to help you after. But if you've increased your energetic strength, it will give you much more control, significantly more options when you die. And this will also, to increase your energetic strength, it will help you retain your sense of self when dreaming. And it will make you stronger in your dreams, because when you dream, you are an energetic aspect of yourself, and the energetic pathways and the energetic strength you have while awake correlate to yourself while dreaming, which makes dreaming a lot easier. And even if you do have nightmares and have dream invasions, you can deal with them and either wake up and you've not really taken a hit, or you can deal with them in the dream and keep having a regular dream. It massively improves the quality of your life. Another thing you'll notice as you increase your energetic strength is your mind, your thoughts will become stronger and your mind will become stronger, meaning all the mental chatter you have that's usually stagnant negative energy and a few other things, they will get quieter and quieter as your mind gets stronger, until really they go away. Because I used to have a ridiculous amount of mental chatter, and yeah, they'll mimic people and, whatever program trauma is going on. And yes, there are quite a few ways to clear inner trauma and go through it. But the more energetic strength you have, the harder it is for negative energy to create mental chatter, right? And then physical health, your pain resistance will go up, your sense of pain will go down, your physical health will go up. I think I talked about, yes, I did talk about how to clear illnesses, basic illnesses like a sore throat in the last video. That's a life-changing ability. That really helps not being sick ever again. And then quality of mind, quality of thoughts, quality of body, feeling of body, overall lightness as you're no longer energetically being restricted by negative energy. I'd say the quality of life changes from energy training are absolutely huge. You have to put in the work, but it's really well worth it. So I think I'll end that here. That is class 2 for grounding and manifesting energy. Oh, one thing I will say, this is important, if you go to create, let's say a sword, right? You've created a sword, you're picturing a nice sword, it's got a metal guard here, it goes up, it's sharp, and the sword, you create it, you've used one hand, and then you're holding it in one hand, you're feeling the energy, just how you do the ball, and then it just like kind of wilts, right? Your sword becomes floppy and not very useful. What that is your energetic control of your mind is not yet strong enough to retain the shape of the sword manifested in reality. So if your sword's floppy, try a dagger, right? And you'll probably notice that is less floppy because it's a smaller shape, which is easier for your mind to handle. And it might just be floppy at the tip. That's perfectly fine. If that's happening, the important thing is don't get discouraged. Know that so long as you keep training, you will increase your strength and your mental strength, right? Because you'll often have basically an artificial like anger when something goes wrong. Remain calm, remain relaxed, and just keep practicing. And even if, and this will happen, the astrology stuff will flare up. You'll just have some days where it's harder than others. That's perfectly normal. There will be days where you can create more than, like a lot more than you could last day, where you'll grow a lot, and there'll be some days where you've barely grown. It just depends on what's going on, really on the grand scheme of things, energetically. And it's important to not really worry about that. If you're really getting annoyed, you're having trouble making progress, then take a day or two break. But it's important to come back, because often it's easier if you take 2 days to take 4 days and to just quit, right? It's important to, even if you take a day or two off because you just feel you've hit a wall, to come back and resume. Usually with this, I wouldn't recommend take any time off, but it would really come down to not physical limitation, but just an emotional annoyedness that it's taking too long, or you're not seeing benefits quickly enough. Which I was in a haunted house, and I remember I'd go to sleep and there'd be everything around me. We're talking 60, 70 shadowy figures, demons, ghosts, etc. And I'm like, all right, let's see if I can get rid of you. And I would physically manifest a knife and I would stab it into a demon and he would not die. The reason for that is because this demon had a lot more energy, negative energy manifested in itself than I had in this. And also, doing this, it's not going to summon anything. Nothing's going to come to you, right? This was just my annoying circumstances. But this is not really... Can you manifest a weapon and attack something? Yes, but really as a last resort. You're much better off using the primordial hand to fight things and battling it in your mind than you are trying to deal with it physically, because it's really not how this world is set up. These beings that are manifestations of negative energy, yes, you can somewhat deal with them physically, but not really. But you can deal with them much more easily using your energy and your mind than you can using your physical body. So, if you're creating physical things, thinking like, I'm going to create the best sword ever, and then I'm going to stab this poltergeist that's haunting me, it's not you're better off just taking that time and training and then doing the primordial hand. Oh, the other thing I'll add. So let's say if you've not overdone it, then usually your body will set it to be around 20 to 22 hours until you are fully recuperated to do it again. I don't recommend let's say you manifest a lot at night and then the next morning you're like, I'm going to manifest again, because you're using your energetic pathways which have not recuperated and you're in a current growth period. So don't do that. And if you have overdone it, and I've massively overdone it before, to see what would happen. What would happen is your growth period, your recovery period will take longer. But what I'd recommend if you've overdone it, let's say you always do this at 10 p.m. at night or 9 p.m., you will do it again. You've overdone it. Whoops. The next night, do it again at 9 p.m. and you may even be able to do a half or a third of what you could do, but know that that's still training and you'll still grow. And then the next night, you should be fully recovered rather than skipping a night, just in case you do overtrain, which you shouldn't do, because your mind and body will both tell you. It'll be very, very apparent. Anyway, I'll end this here because now I'm just rambling.